What's up, fam? I'm Dr. Gino Gibson.
I am Shakita Gibson.
Welcome to
Journey
Journey
with
with
the
the
Gibsons,
Gibsons.
where of course we don't know all things about relationships, but we
We're on a
like
journey.
and we like sharing the journey. Be sure to like, subscribe, what's all the other stuff? Follow.
Right.
Share this video.
Give
Share
them
this
everywhere we
video.
are, though. Give them where we are.
Find us on Facebook, Journey with the Gibsons. Find us on YouTube, Journey with the Gibsons, and find us on Instagram, Journey with the Gibsons. Make sure you share this video. Help us get the word out. Help us get more people to talk about relationships. We are
Yeah.
real people talking real relationships.
And everybody's on a journey. And
Absolutely.
we just saying, hey, join us on ours and tell us about yours, right?
Absolutely.
Tonight, we're talking about grief. March 10th,
Grief.
1998, I lost my father, the Reverend Eugene Gibson Sr. He passed of a heart attack, and it was amazing. It was amazingly traumatic for a lot of us. And I've been on this grief journey for some time. Tell them about you.
And on this year, February 14th, Valentine's Day of all days, I lost my dad, Curtis Nelson Boone,
Wow.
after a battle with cancer.
Right. Mine was immediate, and my babes was after a battle, and I was in Chicago on my way to the Bahamas for a mission trip when I found out.
Wow.
Where were you?
Wow. I was in, we were in Ghana,
Yeah.
West Africa, and on a trip there. And he passed on that day while we were in Cape Coast, Ghana.
Right, right. So tell them how you feel as a recent person with grief.
I'm taking it one day at a time. It's very, very difficult. My dad is the first person in my life, um, immediate family that I've lost.
Hmm.
I've lost aunts and uncles and grandparents, but I've never lost someone super, super, super close to me. And my dad was my heart. My heart. He was the king of our house. I have two sisters, and of course my mom. So he was the guy of the house for a very long time. So
Right,
he was our superhero.
right.
And so just taking it one day at a time. It's funny that I remember we first started dating, babe, and you would always say, babe, you've never lost anybody.
Right.
And I don't know how you gonna act.
Right. I knew the day was coming.
He said, I don't
Yeah,
know how you,
yeah.
would handle grief. And I would be like, oh, I'll be okay. I think, I'll be okay. And he'd be like, oh no, I've seen your attitude before.
Right, right, right.
So it's funny that I think about now losing my dad and thinking back to those conversations and just know, even in our relationship at the very beginning, we were preparing for
Right,
moments like this,
right,
which I'm
right.
so grateful for.
And I'd experienced it before, but let me say this to Curtis Nelson Boone and his incredible daughters, and the daughter that I'm married to. That he was a short guy. That little man was a he
He's a
was
big guy
he's a
in
big
stature
guy. He's a
and
big guy. He was awesome,
thought.
and he hazed me. He hazed me in order to marry his daughter. Right? And he said to
That's
me
right.
something I'll never forget. On the day we got married, May 25th, 2019, in Jamaica, he walked up to me and said, I feel good about giving you what's mine. And I've had honors in my life. That was one of the biggest honors I've ever had, next to being able to eulogize him. And
Mm.
at my mother-in-law's request,
At
he
his
had
at his
at his
request too,
quest.
because my dad wasn't a big church guy.
Right.
My dad knew God, and,
Yeah.
and all of that. But he for as long as I have known my dad, like my whole life, he always worked on Sunday. So he didn't grow up going to
Right.
church. But when I married this one, he loved to hear him
Yeah,
preach.
he did.
So
He did.
yeah,
He did.
he
So
found his way back to loving some preaching when
I
you came
was
along.
nervous, but I was excited to do that. And for me, I lost my dad in 1998, and ironically,
Mm.
I lost my brother in the same year, 5 months later. His name
Yeah,
was
wow.
Everett James Gibson. He died of complications related to the AIDS virus. He was
Mm.
a same gender loving guy, but he
Mhm.
died because he had AIDS, not because he was same gender. I think I need to say that
Yeah,
because some of the stigmas are still
still
that
out
they're
there.
still out there,
Hmm.
that AIDS is a gay disease. No, 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 no.
Mm-mm.
That was not it. But
Hmm.
for me, because I've had now some 26 years or trips around the sun in grief, I understand. And that's what I was trying to say to my babe is that grief never goes away. It never goes
Mm.
away.
And
There are,
it's so, let me say, it's hard to know that until it happens.
yes,
I kept hearing you say that.
never goes away.
You hear people say that, like you'll be triggered and you'll
Yeah,
always remember,
yeah,
and
yeah.
you just don't know it.
My dad said something to me. He had an honorary doctorate, and he says, um, "You won't be anything." He was a
Hmm.
hazer like Curtis. You won't be
Yeah.
anything until you get a real doctorate. I got my first
Mm.
doctorate in 2003, and when
Mm.
they approved me, I cried like a baby.
Mm.
And now, in a couple weeks, I'll have my second doctorate,
Hmm.
and it's just I miss him. He
And
never
he
saw
would
me
be
pastor.
so proud of
He
you.
would, and I look just like him. I mean,
Oh my
so
God.
what I'm saying
Just
is,
like him.
grief never leaves, but then you flip grief. You turn a frown upside down
Hmm.
and make it a smile and thank God or whoever you give your life to
Yeah.
that that person intersected your life
Yeah.
and you are the better for it. I
Yeah.
am better because of Eugene Gibson Sr.
I am better because of Curtis Nelson
And I
Boone.
am better because of Curtis Nelson Boone too,
Wow.
because I get to treat this wonderful gift named Shakitha Boone Gibson now
Hmm.
with the love and respect. I remember when she handed the responsibility over to me. You remember that?
Something was wrong with my car or something, right? I
Yes.
remember
We
that.
landed. We landed at the
Yep.
airport. We had been on a trip. We landed at the
Yep.
airport, and she pulled off. I pulled off, and she says, "Hey, my car doesn't work." I said,
I didn't
"Okay."
pull off,
No, no,
babe.
no, no. You didn't. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I pulled off.
We walked to our cars.
Right.
Our cars were parked differently. So you got in the car, I got in my car
Right.
because we were just dating. Like we weren't riding together and all that kind of stuff. I was going home, he was going home. And my car wouldn't start.
Right. And I'd
My car
left,
wouldn't start. Yep. And my
and
battery had
I
died.
said, I said, yo, this is tripped out. You didn't call your dad. She said, no, I
It's
can
your
call
job
him.
now.
It's your job now. And
Hmm.
that coupled with the fact that he said, I feel good about giving you what's mine. This is what you have to understand. This is deep. Is that when you are in a relationship or even when you're single, your people that are above you, your parents, they've been the stars of their narrative.
Yeah.
Now you're the star of yours.
Yeah.
And that means you either live it to the fullest by yourself or you live it with someone sharing. You ain't
Right.
got time to fight and do stupid stuff. This is your narrative.
Right.
You only got one to write. Your children is the narrative, your narrative of the future.
Right.
So that what you do is honor the past, live the future, and impart into live the present
Yeah.
and impart into the future. Honor the past, live the present, and impart into the future.
That's good. That's
Yeah,
good. Let me also say, in because we're on this journey, right?
I'm on
And
this
different
journey.
things happen along the journey. You have ups, you have downs, and this was a down for me.
Still is
It still
sometimes.
is,
Yeah,
still is. It's still very fresh, still very very new. But it is so important to understand how to navigate grief with your significant other.
man.
Um, and everybody I guess handles it in a different way. I remember when we were in Ghana when I found out that my dad passed, and so we were together, and my husband is very hands on. He's very, what do you need, what do you want me to do, what do you, can I, right? And I'm very, I don't need nothing, right? Good, bad, or indifferent. I'm just like that a little bit. And I said a little bit.
It's a
that's
lot.
that's that's why I put the little bit
It's a
in.
lot of it.
No, no, it's not. I'm just like that a little bit. Anyway, so I said I didn't need anything, and I had a moment. I actually broke down, hugging him. But then he went out, to the little common area, to the pool, I think, or something, to hang with some of the other guests, and I stayed back in the room to take a moment. And I thank him for giving me that moment because I am the type of person that needs a fair amount of space, right? In all things. Even today, like he had to go to work. I was like, go to work because I need a minute. I can wash clothes, get the dishes, cook, all that kind of stuff. And so he gave me space, and I appreciate that. And it's so important to know your partner and know what they need and listen to them when they're asking, because if he had hovered too much, I wouldn't have liked that, if that makes sense. And I think we've been together for so long now, he understands me.
Yeah.
I think the opposite, when you're going through, he wants more closeness. He wants to, just be able to lay his head on my shoulder, and even just in a quiet moment. And I need that too. But we're just different in that space. So it's so important to understand and know your partner and respect the way that they grieve.
And I think that's important. I think that's really important because she is absolutely right. What I would desire is different than what she would desire, and she needs space, but I wouldn't want to be up close. And I think that some of it has to do with I'm the go-to person in my family and have been for a long time, and she has had the covering of her dad for up until recently. So I think we have to respect each other.
Absolutely. It's just super important, super, super important to respect each other in all aspects of relationships, but specifically how one loves, how one communicates, how one grieves,
Right.
which is what we're talking about tonight. But all of those things matter when it comes to relationships. And it's a part of your journey. Like, you're not going to be able to avoid it.
Right.
Right? Things are going to happen. You're going to have highs, you're going to have lows. So figuring out how to navigate them early is great. But even if you can't early, stop and take a pause.
Right.
And figure it out while you're on the journey.
And realize that if you're in a relationship or you have a community, if you're single, most people want you to win.
Right.
Most people, especially if you're with a spouse or something, hopefully, they want you to win.
Yeah.
So don't make them the enemy, right? Don't make them the enemy, even though sometimes they might
act like the enemy.
Be camouflaged like the enemy, but
they act like the enemy. Sometimes. This one right here.
You go crazy, man. Listen, grief can be elusive. And here, let's say this: if you find yourself in chronic grief, please go get some help.
And that's okay.
And that's okay. That is okay. If you need some help, go get some help, please, because it can be silent. It can be a silent killer.
And understand if understand if your partner needs help and not you.
Wow.
Don't take it personally. Let me say that. Now, I don't think you should shut your partner out by any means. That's not what I'm saying.
Right.
But sometimes, like my husband's saying, chronic grief or things that you can't get past, you can't overcome, you may need somebody professional, and somebody that doesn't know all the ins and outs of your stuff that you need to talk to. So that's about giving people space and respecting how they need to process.
Some people say like there's no dog in the fight.
Yeah.
Or somebody who's very objective, right? Grief, listen, got new grief.
It's tough.
We got long-term grief. Not chronic, but long-term. I miss my dad.
I miss mine too.
Yeah, listen. And we're on the journey together.
We are.
Listen, I'm Dr. Gino Gibson.
I am Shakitha Gibson. Make sure you keep loving, learning, and live. I said that all wrong. Living, learning, and loving together on the journey through all things in your relationship. Again, be sure to subscribe, follow, like us on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. We are real people talking about real relationships, and we want you on the journey with us.
We love you. There's nothing you can do about it. And as always,
we speak life. Peace.